back in my shed. It's been a while since I've actually done a screen printing video, and I thought it'd be the time that I actually do another one. I've already got my screen ready. If you don't know how to prepare a screen or anything like that, watch the video, watch one of these videos and then go through the process of getting rid of that emulsion off the screen, degreasing, emulsion, all those things. Just go and check out some of those previous videos. But in this one, what I want to do is apply black Plastisol ink, which is a little bit different from your water-based. The water-based sinks into the threads, whereas Plastisol sits on top. It just gives it that different feel. It has a lot of stretch. And it's such a good versatile ink for anyone who's gone through the water-based process and they want to try something else and give their customers a little bit more. Hey, that's what we all want to do. We want to give our customers more options, and it's another thing in the arsenal, having that Plastisol ink, getting used to it, curing it. It's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my screen on the platen, get a t-shirt on there ready, and then we're going to put it on there. I'm going to teach you how to cure it. It's going to be fun. So what I've got here is just a black Plastisol ink. Black Plastisol ink is quite easy to work with. White shirts with black ink, really easy to work with. It's a fantastic way to get started, and that's what I thought I'd do in this video. Just a nice easy way to get started. The actual black Plastisol that I use is quite runny, with some white and things like that, or when you get a higher grade, you're going to get a thick paste that comes, and what you want to buy is something like this, which is a ink reducer, and it really thins out that Plastisol, and then you can get a texture that's different from job to job, but you know, it's runny and it's going to go through that mesh easier. Ecotex is one that I use. There are lots of other brands out there, but I found the Ecotex pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this onto my screen, we're going to run it on that practice shot, and we're going to see how it comes out. So my screen's ready, it's got the ink on the mesh. Got open mesh there with my design. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flood it just as you would in the water-based. I'm just going to bring the ink up and sort of semi-push it over the top of the, you don't have to push it in, you just have to bring it across so we cover all that design. Nice. And then we're going to go through for our first pass. So we're just going to push down, and there we go. When you actually push, you can actually see the ink starting to curl as you're actually pushing it across the mesh. There we are. So just like with water-based ink, what we're going to want to do is get it touch dry. So we just hit it with a heat gun and get it nice and dry, just so that we can touch it, and then we can apply a second coat. That's pretty good. I can touch it, I'm not getting ink onto my fingers, but it's still slightly tacky. So then when I put my second coat, then I don't have any issues of it setting on top and then breaking away. So I'm gonna flood my screen again, and unlike water-based, you don't have to flood and it doesn't dry into the mesh. That's one good thing about Plastisol. It doesn't dry unless you heat it up to that curing temperature. So I'll flood it, then I'm just going to take it over and give it a nice second coat. Sitting there, it's thicker, and I'll hit it, and I'm happy with the coverage. I can't see that white, I can't see the white through it. So now I can hit it and I can semi-cure this with my heat gun. So the print's nice and dry. I can touch it with my hands. What we want to do to cure the shirt is we want to take it off the platen. So we ease it up off the platen in the adhesive. We take it off, and then we set it so that we actually don't have the platen absorbing the heat. That's one issue you'll get. If you're going to cure this shirt with a heat gun, what you're going to want to do is make sure that the shirt's off of the platen, and then at least a small air pocket underneath it, so that when you're applying the heat, the actual threads and the Plastisol actually absorb the heat rather than the platen, because it will take forever and then you won't get a nice uniform cure across the shirt, and you'll actually damage the platen if you're applying lots of heat there. So what we want to do is take the shirt off the platen and then just set it up. You just got a nice little bit of air under there. Then we can go through for the cure phase, and you can do that with a heat gun, you can do it with a conveyor dryer, but starting out you're probably not going to buy a conveyor dryer. So best way to do it is just get a heat gun, and then we can actually start applying more heat there and getting up to that cure temperature. Now that my shirt's cured, you can really tell when Plastisol's cured because it has a lot of stretch in it. You can stretch it and you're not going to get cracking. So that's a practice shirt. I like everything. There's no marks, there's nothing there that I don't want on the shirt. Now I can go through and do my official t-shirt. There we are, a Plastisol t-shirt. The Plastisol ink lasts the life of the shirt, which is really good. Your water-based starts to actually break down and wash out the threads, and it doesn't last as long as what the Plastisol does. The Plastisol is fantastic, has lots of stretch, and it does have a bit of a different feel from the water-based, as the water-based sinks into the threads, whereas this sits on top, so you can run your hands across it and you can really feel that design. Another tip, when you actually use your heat gun, it's not completely great for getting a cure process across the whole design. Sometimes when you're actually applying it, you might apply more heat to one side than the other and you don't hold it there long enough. So what I usually do is I actually put it in the heat press. Then while it's in the heat press, I just leave it there with no pressure on it. We don't want to crush that design. It does give it a flatter look, and it does add a little bit of a different element rather than the actual just the Plastisol itself. It does give it that sort of softer feel. We leave it in there just for around 30 seconds so that we can get that heat throughout the whole design. Because we've got those layers, because we got the layers when we do the first coat and then the second coat, we want to make sure that the heat is getting through all of that ink. If it doesn't get through all of the ink, what can happen is it starts to break, it starts to fall apart, and then your design isn't going to last the length of the shot, and then people might not be happy. So the best bet is to just make sure that you get that heat throughout the whole design, through all of the ink, and that is dependent on the ink itself. Some have a low cure, and some are usually it is around 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius, and then we want to make sure that the design and the ink has been at that temperature for around a minute, 2 minutes, to ensure that it gets throughout the whole shot. I hope this helps. I hope you enjoy screen printing, and if there's anything more you want to learn, look in some of my older videos and let me know what you think. Happy screen printing. I love you. I appreciate you. Ciao.